In light of the recent Optus cyber attack, I am sitting down with Senior Fraud Manager Bethan Wearmouth to learn more about how we can protect ourselves against fraud and scammers. Welcome, Bethan.
Hi, Kimberly. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, definitely an important topic to be talking about, even before the cyber attack that we're all sort of obviously very well aware of at the moment. People really do need to be aware. So research showed that last year, so 2021, Australia has lost over $2 billion to scams. And part of that research also shows that about a third of people don't report when they've been scammed. So if you take that $2 billion, it's even bigger. So definitely something that needs to be front of mind for everybody at the moment.
So Bethan, what are the main types of scams we're seeing at the moment across Australia?
So research is showing that in 2021, investment scams were the biggest, followed then by business email compromise, or what we'd call sort of invoice redirection scams. But also in the last 4 years, there's been a significant increase in online scams, including phishing and online sales, as well as remote access and romance scams. So they're not new, but they're taking advantage of everyone moving online. And actually, ScamWatch said since the pandemic, there's been an 83% increase in online scams because of that. When the money disappears, then it goes really fast. So it goes into an account that's been set up using fraudulent ID, or it goes overseas. And unfortunately, once it goes overseas, the police have no jurisdiction, and it's really difficult to get it back.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the most common scams and how we can protect ourselves?
So investment scams have caused the highest loss to Australians, so I'll start with them. A lot of people are looking for investments that are more lucrative because interest rates are so low, and so the scammers are preying on this. So the old adage goes, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Absolutely.
And the biggest piece of advice is do your own research. So look up if this investment that you're going to has an AFS license. Look at whether their prospectus is registered with ASIC. If I give an example of what's happening with us, we're actually receiving calls from people who are not our clients, but think that they are. Yeah. So what they've done is they've gone online, they've gone to a price comparison site, so they've Googled term deposits, and they found the top one, clicked on it, put in their details, they've received a call, they've got a lovely glossy brochure, the right branding's all over it, and they've invested their money. It's now come to maturity, and they're looking obviously to get their investment back with the sort of proceeds of that investment, and no one's heard of them, and that's because the money's gone to a scammer. And obviously that money went ages ago. So with the same thing of the money moves really quickly, the money is now gone and there's no trace of it. So look into what you're investing in and make sure that you are sure. Go to the company website. Look at sort of, is that there? I've got a prospectus. Does it match up with what it's telling me on the official website? So research is key for investments. The next one, and the one that actually we're seeing the most of, is business email compromise, or sort of often called invoice redirection. So this is where someone either hacks into your email or the email of someone you're paying. So when they come into your email, what they can do is set up rules that actually diverts any email that's maybe got invoice or statement or account to somewhere in the ether that you don't know. You never see it. And then they resend the invoice. So you're expecting it. You know you're making a payment. You know how much the amount's going to be. The only thing that's changed is the payment details. Or they've hacked into the person you're paying. So we've seen one recently, a conveyancer was hacked, and this is quite a common one because they're receiving property settlement proceeds. So we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars here. And the first time, unfortunately, that the person found out that they had been scammed was when the conveyancer phoned to find out where the funds were. And unfortunately, they were gone. So they'd been transferred and immediately transferred out. A lot of the time they'll be sat with overseas with a shopping cart loaded up with high value goods, and they just use a debit card. So you can't even follow the funds to another bank account. And then they go and sell those goods on the black market. So the biggest piece of advice I can give here is pick up the phone. So they are relying on us wanting to do everything faster, doing everything online, everything through email. If you just pick up the phone, if you are asked to pay a new payee, or you're asked to amend the payee details, very few businesses will be changing their bank accounts. So really sort of think about, well, hang on a minute, pick up the phone, don't use the number in the email, don't use the number on the invoice, use it on, go into the website, look up the company, or use your contact details that you've had in the past, phone them up and confirm it. It may feel like a pain to have to do that, especially if there's sort of urgency around paying the invoice, but I'll tell you what, if you save money and you don't lose it to a scam, you will really, really be thankful that you did.
Absolutely.
Remote access scams, we're seeing more and more of those at the moment. So this will be maybe a pop-up on your screen saying that there's a problem with your network. Often they'll claim to be from Telstra or NBN and asking you to phone a number. Or they'll actually just phone you out of the blue and say there's a problem. We actually have had a couple this quarter where someone's been phoned out of the blue and said, oh, your PayPal account's been hacked. We need to download some software. Can you download anytime, which is a remote access software, so that we can protect your funds? They've downloaded it, and a number of transactions went out during that remote access session. We managed to get the funds back for one of those cases. We weren't able, unfortunately, to get it back for another one. So again, remote access software, just don't download it. If someone asks you to do it, just don't. It gives them full access to your computer. So then they go into your online banking and sort of just don't. If you have done it, disconnect everything. Don't go into your online banking at all until your computer's been professionally cleaned.
And Beth, I'm confirming that a telco or a bank will never ask for remote access.
No, no, they won't. Phishing, I think we've all heard of phishing.
Yeah, not phishing the lake.
No, not the leisure activity. So these are the ones where you get sent an email or a text message or even links in social media posts. And what they're looking to do is trying to capture personal information or bank account details or download some form of malware. And what this malware generally does is it can capture all the keystrokes. So whether it's on your phone, whether it's on your computer, if you then go and log into online banking, it can see what you're doing. And then it can go in and replicate that. So I've received 2 emails from a friend recently, both of them saying, oh, Bethan, you need to check out these photos with a link. I haven't clicked on it, thankfully. I'm 22 years in fraud. I'm very, very cynical. But it appears to be from her. And what they've done is it's called display name spoofing. So it looks like it's from her, it's her name, but actually if you hover over it, the actual email address it's come from is someone totally different. And it went into my junk folder, which was a big clue as well. But yeah, just don't do it even if you think it's from someone. Or you've got a chain. So say you've received something from DHL and you've had the official messages that say your order's on its way. They can actually spoof and put one in there that then still looks like it's from DHL. It's in that legitimate chain asking you to click on the link. As I mentioned previously, online scams. So especially sort of we're seeing it in the agricultural and farming industry for farm sales, buying farm equipment. There's a lot of it going on online. Shipping containers is massive, and puppies. So I think a lot of people have heard of the puppy scams, but what they're doing is the scammers are using the fact that we're going online. They're looking at the fact we're buying things online, especially during the pandemic. They were looking at the fact that sight unseen, you can't come visit, but just transfer the money anyway. But we're seeing a lot more of these. We've had a couple of puppy ones recently. So what it is you pay for the puppy, then the puppy gets sick. So then the money was transferred for vet bills. Then there was more money requested for insurance. And then there was more money requested for couriers. And you can see all of these funds sort of going out. There was multiple transactions and multiple emails and correspondence. When we actually went back and looked at it, the account name that they thought they were paying was a company. Actually, when we went in and looked, it was an individual. And that's something in Australia you can't see. Australian banks don't match the account name to the account number. So the UK does, so you would be able to see it. You can't here, so you've got to be wary. The email address they were corresponding with was a business name at gmail.com.
Right.
Businesses don't use Gmail, so that was a big red flag as well. And when we sort of went in and looked at all these links, so everything across social media, all the ads for these puppies went to one website, and the website had copied and pasted logos from legitimate businesses. They were using tracking numbers and wording that came from legitimate courier sites. So they're very sophisticated, and they're doing all this to trick people out of their money.
So are there any new scam trends that we need to be on the lookout for?
Look, scammers are always looking at new ways to sort of scam people and exploit what's currently going on. So in light of the recent Optus cyberattack, some of the ones that we've actually seen already, they're already on the ball with it, are SMS messages coming through. So these text messages are saying, your details have been compromised, Optus has not paid the ransom, please transfer $2,000 to this bank account. Once we receive notification that this has been done, we will erase your details. Goes without saying, it's a scam, it's not genuine.
Do not transfer any money.
Do not transfer the money. Another one is people reaching out mainly through the phone and saying, look, we can help. Your details have been compromised, we can help. And they're either asking for payment to help you, or they're asking for remote access to your computer. Same old story, same type of scam, just using something that is current. So it goes without saying, don't pay anyone that contacts you unsolicited, and don't allow anyone access to your computer. So same advice as for the scams that we're seeing. But just be careful that people are targeting concerns of others. So they're using the worry of people to actually hope that they will slip up and make mistakes where otherwise they may be more cautious.
And is there anything extra that we need to be aware of in light of the cyber attack?
Look, just don't trust a caller just because they've got personal information. So as we know, it's personal information that's been taken. And a lot of the time people can use this through, I've said caller, but it could be through an email or a text message. If they've got that information, they sometimes will use it to appear legitimate.
Sure.
So if you receive something, oh, they know my date of birth, they know my name, they know my address, they must be the bank. Yeah. Therefore, I will provide them the information. So just be extra cautious on that. Monitor your account for any unusual transactions. All the banks work together. So if you've seen something, we can get on the phone to another bank and try. Like it, as I said, money moves quickly. It may not be there, but the quicker you contact us, the more chance you've probably got of getting it back. If you do want to add an additional security measure, you can actually reduce your transaction limit. So your daily limit can be reduced. So if that's something you want, then contact the contact center on the usual number, and they can work through that with you. As sort of that extra scam that I noticed, be cautious of anyone saying they can protect your data. Invariably, they can't, especially if they want money for it or they want access to your computer for it. If you're concerned about your ID, that it's being compromised because of this, you can actually request a free credit report. If you don't think you're going to be taking out credit anytime soon, you can actually put a credit ban on, so people then can't take out credit in your name. There's also an independent company called ID Care. So it's idcare.org. And what they do is they help individuals who've been impacted by fraud or scams.
So what are the top 5 tips for us to better protect ourselves?
If you want to log into your online banking, go in and type www.rabobank.com.au. Do not put in the Google search Rabobank login, because what the scammers are doing is that they are spoofing the website. So they may sort of call it Rabobank with an E on the end. Yeah. And so it looks the same, and you just click on it, but they actually use the search optimization function and they pay Google ads. So actually their scam website appears above the legitimate one,
Wow.
and you go in and you provide your login details. And that goes for anything that you're going into, that you're going to enter login details or personal information. Go directly to the website. We've all become sort of very lazy at just sort of using Google to go to it. So sort of that's probably a big piece of advice there that goes with that clicking links. The next one, I've said it, I'll say it again. Don't transfer money to anyone that sort of phones you up out of the blue or sends you a message saying you need to send money. There's so many of them going around. We've seen this Optus one. A lot of people know of the hi mum one, I've lost my phone, can you send me money? Delete this number because this is my new one. So there's new ways of it always. Just don't pay unsolicited people. Pick up the phone and talk to people. Never share your username, your password, the DigiPass token with anybody. So Rabobank will never ask you for these. So if someone is asking you for them, they are not a bank. No bank will ask you for your PIN or password. So just hang up on them. Do not share it. Use two-factor authentication on all your accounts. So by this, I mean you've got your username and password. So sort of anything like PayPal or any of your bank accounts, they then require another separate code. Now, it's sometimes not automatically set up, so go in and make sure it's activated. The next one, and probably the sort of last one, a bit more technical, is ensure your computer's operating on the most up-to-date operating systems. So, and your mobile phones. So we all get sort of the updates that come through, the software update requests. So make sure you're on the most up-to-date one. Make sure you're using antivirus software and that this is up to date. And when using browsers as well, make sure that you're using the most recent one. And then I guess it's just a bonus one at the end. I know you asked for 5, but just a bonus one. We've got a lot of security tips on our website. So if you actually go into rabobank.com.au and go to the security tips section, there's a lot of information and there's sort of a lot of useful sites that you can go to sort of look at what you can be doing and what you can be doing to help yourself.
And finally, what should we do if we've been scammed or we think we've been scammed?
Okay, so if you think you've been scammed and you're still on the phone, hang up. Okay. If you've given away any personal information or allowed access to your computer, disconnect immediately and do not go back in, especially not into your online banking or any other sort of account until you've had it professionally cleaned. And then contact us as soon as possible. As I said, the money moves fast. The scammers are looking to get to this money as quickly as possible. So the sooner you phone us, the sooner we can get onto it and we can work with the other banks to get your money, well, attempt to get your money back. But speed is of the essence.